we're going to talk about her time in Prague when she go there to further her education.
It's 14 years ago.
Okay, let me start
Why 14 years later?
Okay, maybe a little background. So she had actually gone to the Czech Republic to further her education. What was it for?
I'm very proud of you that you say Czech Republic and not Czechoslovakia.
Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, because there are people who still say, oh, Czechoslovakia. It's like,
so what is the correct way of saying it?
Czech Republic.
And what?
That's why I say I'm very proud of you.
Right, Czechoslovakia is actually a combination of two countries, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the older times. It was when it's communist. It's Czechoslovakia. Yeah.
So Czech Republic is the country. Prague is actually the city of Czech. And what were you there for? Can you just briefly describe?
Like you say.
What was it for your masters or your?
Yeah, I went there for my masters.
Okay, when was that? Can you recall? Which year was it?
2007 to 2009.
2007 to 2009.
Yes.
2007 to 9. That is 2 years.
Yes.
Were you alone when you went there?
I went there alone. Yeah.
You were there alone? So nobody else went with you amongst our friends?
No.
Okay.
I love to do things on my own. In podcast 1, we talk about my loner characteristics. Yes. So this is one of my loner projects that I reward myself with. I actually see it as a reward.
A reward
for myself. Yeah.
So did you do this immediately after school?
No,
after polytechnic?
No. I did it in my 30s.
You did it in 30s?
In my early 30s. I remember when I came back after a year, I bought my flat. So that was Prague is my first present for myself, and then the second present is getting a place of my own.
Which is where we are filming the podcast right now.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go back to the very beginning. So you went there during your 30s, and was that after a few years of working in the industry?
I would say after 10 years.
What's your specialty? I mean, would you like to say what were you doing as a job?
I was a graphic designer, right? And same with you.
Yes.
And we were pursuing our career in graphic design, and I was also doing part-time teaching. Okay. I remember I was teaching in a couple of places, and when I terminate, I have to do some kind of wrapping up with the different schools and
sending in and serving your notice for the last year. And then you proceed to go on to arrange to go to school.
I remember I will have to, I was servicing clients as well, and I have to kind of officially wrap up.
Wait,
kinds of work.
You were doing graphic design at the same time teaching in school?
Yeah.
So you're wrapping up your school and then also wrapping up your project with your client.
Yes. Right. So there was a lot of wrapping up. It feels, I like the idea of wrapping up. Now that I think about it,
it's like a closure to things.
Yeah, it was like, okay, to the next stage. And I remember during that time, people were saying, you're going to do a master's in typography? What would that be?
Okay, wait. Let's not jump the gun. Okay, so firstly, why Prague? Then we will talk about what was your specialty. Okay, so why of all places, not London, not America, but Prague? Because I thought that's quite an interesting place to go.
Exactly, because you said it's interesting.
Yeah, that's also the reason why after dinner we decided that we continue to do this podcast and talk about your experience going there, and maybe you can tell me why.
Actually, before going over there officially, I actually did a trip to Recce before I...
So you physically went...
I physically went for a trip.
For a holiday?
Yeah.
And how long was that trip?
I can't remember. I think maybe a week or so. It was a very short trip, just directly to Prague to check things out. I'm most concerned with how cold it is and how livable would that be
for Southeast Asian like us.
Yeah, for someone like me. So
We're
I
not
remember
accustomed to the weather.
I remember it very clearly because I have an online photo album. It's still there. If
But
you
we
remember.
won't share that
No,
online.
yes. So I remember wearing a coat that I borrowed from Mama.
Ah,
It's pink color. So I borrowed it.
winter appropriate.
Yeah, it was like late autumn. Yeah. So yeah, I still remember taking a picture of me in that pink coat and the very particular hostel I was staying in. It was a nice place. I would not call it a hostel. It's an attic. It's an attic space. I remember.
So was that in the school?
No. I'm talking about my first visit.
Did you intentionally book a hostel inside a school to experience?
No. It's not inside a school. I would say that it is a bed and breakfast.
Okay. Which we were equivalent of an Airbnb right now.
Yeah. It's a really nice bed and breakfast. It's an attic. Yeah, it's attic space. But I remember it being spooky as well. I'm not trying to be, just create the topic for the sake of it. So on hindsight, right, it kind of spooky. Yeah.
But then you were there on a hunt, so you won't be spending much time in that spooky place.
That is true, because I remember by the time I'm back into the room, I'm usually exhausted because I'm walking around the whole day.
So where did you go? What did you do? Just briefly, because I also want to go straight into your educational round.
Okay. Just walking around town.
But not even visiting the academy that you...
I think I did, but very briefly.
Okay.
If you're not an official student, I don't think they can show you much as well.
So what's the goal? If you can't see much, then it was there to
actually, by that time, I'm quite certain about the school. I am only curious about the city. So I wanted to make sure that the city is something that I can live with in relationship to the school, because by that time I'm quite certain about the school already.
Then you have no choice but to just deal with it, right? Then
I just want to make it like double sure, because it's really like a place I cannot get any feedback from the people around me.
Okay.
So I just go there to kind of
because we are talking about like 20 years ago.
14, I just said 14. Yeah, 14 years.
Okay, those were times when information was not readily available online.
Yeah.
So whatever we need to know, we either ask around from friends who have experienced it themselves, or we try to find ways to acquire.
Yeah, the internet wasn't that informative, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, so and then you checked out the weather, you checked out the city. How was it? Was it
overall
how you envisioned it to be?
I really have no expectations, but overall, right, I won't say it's the friendliest place I have visited. It's not the most accessible tourist foreigners friendly.
What do they speak?
They speak Czech.
Just Czech?
Yeah.
Are they any English speakers? Are they?
I think they learn English in school, but it's not their culture to speak it.
Okay. And your day-to-day is pretty much Czech and not any other languages.
Well, I will speak in English, so it really depends on them how much they choose to understand me. Yeah, I also learned that being in a different culture, right? And right now I'm doing a translation course. I really believe that translation is not about language, but it's about whether that person really want to understand you or not. And it's not about a language difference. This is my belief.
Yeah, I think that is something we can talk about further, because I think it's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah. So now that I am like doing this kind of training in language right now, and on hindsight, what I experienced, I felt that it really wasn't about the difference in language, because at the end of the day, it's universal. right? If I need something from you, I communicate to you in my language, and if that person is willing, that person is able to receive it. And this is what I strongly believe.
Okay, but I also think that during those days, it may not be that common to see Asian faces in Czech.
Oh, okay. Because Czech Republic background is communist, right? So they actually have a very big pool of Vietnamese living in the country.
But are we talking about Czech Vietnamese?
No. They
about
are migrants from Vietnam because of their common communist background.
Yep.
So they have this kind of like accessibility for these common communist countries.
So all the Vietnamese who are living in Czech, they are basically...
They all can speak Czech.
Okay, so they themselves have gotten accustomed to living in the country already.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's not
so
uncommon.
They are not foreign to Asian people. Like to them, all Asians are Asians. They don't feel strange.
But I'm sure they do keep a distance. Super.
I think generally Europeans, right? They are very reserved people, but it's not that they are unfriendly. They just have a different kind of
way of life. The
different way of conduct.
We have French friends, right? And
French,
right. You have your French friends and I have mine. So we understand that they are not aggressively defensive people. Okay. So after that, you stay there for a week and then you come back. Did you immediately pack your things and start?
I really cannot remember the details. Okay. But it was done like...
But it's not like you come back and then you wait a few years, then you go back.
It's not a few years. It's soon. It's soon after. I think the whole point is, okay, to find out exactly what do I need and do they have it. If they don't, then I need to bring it.
Right. Like
it's kind of, chop.
Our Asian must-haves lah.
Yeah.
Like medication.
I don't know lah. I really don't know the details now. But if you talk about medication, I don't feel that.
Okay, share like how was the experience like packing to go? Okay, first of all, your mom is agreeable to you going, right? Like she didn't kick up a fuss about you going.
I think she should be quite used to it because this is not the first time leaving.
Oh, because prior to that, you had studied somewhere else also.
Yeah.
Right, where was it?
That was in UK. I went to Kent.
And then that was how long? For how long were you away?
Also 2 years as well. I was much younger then, and she had already learned to let go. So now in my 30s, there's really not much reason why she cannot let go again.
Okay, so that's not a big deal for the family.
Not a big deal.
And then you went.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened? Like, did you encounter any difficulty packing to go to Czech? Or did you just go very simple, bringing them essentials?
No, I'm not a minimalist. I mean, especially when you're going over there to stay for 2 years. I remember like packing a huge blanket. I had a friend who lent me a blanket and I brought that. So I really...
Okay, that means at this point you would have already established where you're going to stay, right?
Yeah,
either in the school hostel or with the family?
No, it's a school hostel.
Okay, so the hostel, you're also fully aware what they're providing you and what you do not get.
Yes. I mean, basically, I need a solid winter blanket.
So all the clothing you bought in Singapore and not wait till you get there?
Yeah, I have the coat and
whatever that is necessary.
Yes.
And then when you get there, typical question, what did you travel by?
I think I should be travelling by SQ.
And it's a direct flight, is it? From Singapore?
Probably not.
Oh, you need to transit somewhere.
I can't remember. I really cannot. Maybe I travelled by KLM. I cannot remember.
Did you face any difficulty getting to your destination? How did you book a a driver, or did you just grab a cab?
This is the stage where I do not have a very clear memory, or either that or I overlap with my UK memory, because both is carrying big luggages,
No problem.
and UK obviously has a direct flight, right? But for both places, it's definitely a considerable distance from the airport to where we want to go. It's not like Singapore.
Okay,
so I think in terms of that, there's some memory overlap and inaccuracy, which,
No worries. Then after that, what was your first impression of the place? Oh, you have already been there before, so okay.
Yeah.
But how do you feel finally getting there? And this is like a place that you're going to stay for the next 2 years, and you definitely did not consider turning back at any point because your goal is to go there and do your study. Then were you mentally prepared for anything?
I'm excited about being there, right?
So there's not a lot that you thought about lah.
It's just that I want to be there. Whatever comes my way, let's find out what's going to happen.
Okay. So it is with the.
So it's actually very simple. I go there, gear myself up, pack up, reach there, unpack, get ready, do what I need to do. Let's find out what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Did you have your own room or you share with someone else?
Share.
How many to a room?
2 to a room.
So you and another person?
Yeah,
a girl?
A Slovak girl. It's always been her for the 2 years.
Oh, okay. You have the same roommate for 2 years. And how old was she at that time?
She's much younger. I think she's doing her first degree, but I think she's doing economics or something. So the hostel is made up of students from different schools, not just from the same school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, without having to disclose too much, say something about the school that you think is interesting to share. Like, don't have to mention the name, but what is it about the school that, like, okay, for example, what is it that made you decide that this is the right school for you?
I think most other schools that I researched, right, only offer 1 year course, and I think this one offers 2 years.
2 years because you have to do language?
No, it's just 2 years on my study that I have chosen.
Okay, what did you specialize?
Typography.
Okay, so for the next 2 years, it is just pure typography and nothing else.
Yeah, I cannot multitask one.
Okay.
So I only do one thing at a time. I do that full-time study.
And do you make any friends?
Yeah.
What about your friends?
Classmates are mostly schoolmates, classmates.
How are they like?
They're all younger than me. I think I am one of the oldest ones. Yeah. So I would appear to be more mature and sensible, but the truth is I'm just being myself. So
how is your day-to-day interaction with them like? Are you mingling well? Did you hang out with them?
Hang out in a sense of going pubbing and all that, no. But they love, that is their way of life. They would
What, going to the pubs and drink is their way of life?
It's their way of life. Yeah, it's a way to end the day.
Even for a student?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone, yeah. So for me, I don't end my day with alcohol. Right? So in that sense, I remember once, I don't know if you want me to go into that. So there was once when I went to a pub with them and I drank some weird mixture and I fainted and they brought me back. So yeah, so I hardly go, but when I go, something will happen.
Oh my god. So why did you go in the first place? Is it a special celebration?
No, I mean, I don't, it's not my cup of tea, but once a while you should, right?
So it's just one random day?
It's just a random, yeah. It's not that I completely do not go to any pubs or anything, but I don't go there every day. or every other day. But I do once in a while, right, with a bunch of people, and then or just go pub hopping that, certain places that they recommend. I think it's only normal, right?
Okay, then let's talk about your house, your roommate. Like you said, she's a lot younger than you. She's doing her first degree. And what is she like? Is she what's her personality? Is she studious, or she's like this pubbing sort who go for drinks every night?
Yeah, she goes out every night.
Oh, okay.
So I have the room all by myself.
Okay, but you guys get along well lah.
In terms of habits and body language, yes, we do have a mutual understanding.
Oh, okay. So you're kept to your own space.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Respect.
Yes. So there is a kind of a mutual understanding in terms of that. Somehow we just build up over time.
Okay, but do you?
And she knows how to stop my snoring. Isn't she a smart girl?
How to stop your snoring?
She knows exactly what position will stop me from snoring.
Also, she nudge you when you sleep.
Yeah, she will move me so that I stop my snoring.
So every night she has to wake up from her bed, go to your side.
I don't know if it's an every night thing, but
she wouldn't have any quality sleep, right?
But she chose to continue to be my roommate.
Okay.
It's her choice.
So I think maybe she is also quite happy staying with you lah.
Yeah, I would say yes. I'm happy with her and she's happy with me.
How did you all talk?
I mean, she can speak English, of course.
Fairly well.
She's not fluent. She's not super
enough
proficient.
to understand each other.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to mention this. Like when she was at Prague, then occasionally we do communicate via the phone. So I was instructed very clearly to call the receptionist, who is typically a Czech. And then I'm supposed to repeat your name multiple times until they transfer the call to your room. So meaning to say, the call will have to go to the receptionist first, and then the receptionist will direct it to the respective caller's student's room lah. And then you get to pick up. So I remember very clearly that this person is not like a student counselor or something. It is likely a full-time hostel manner.
They're just like
school staff.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. No, of course, it's not essential that we are expecting everybody on this earth to speak English, because that is not what.
You shouldn't.
That's
assume.
not expected lah. Of course, we're not expecting because like ourselves, we speak multiple languages, and then we have our own dialects. So when people speak out in English, of course we are adequate enough to respond, but we also don't expect to go to different country and then everybody has to follow our ways and speak English lah. We are also very adaptable. Yeah. So okay, then when you finally start school, how was it like easing yourself into the classes? What is the special thing that you find that the system probably different from how it is here, or even US or UK?
It's definitely, it has its own system, right? So English not being the official language, so sets the challenge up another notch already. So different system, different working language, right? So you can't really understand the cultural context of why they do what they do.
What classes were conducted in?
Only my class that I'm going to in my studio, that is English. Yeah. Okay, so I have to be more specific. So although I sign into a typography studio, but the course that I'm in is a particular one for foreigners. So this bunch of foreigners in this group, I cannot remember exactly what is the name of this course. Let's call it foreign student course. And this foreign student course, right, is made up of people that choose to major in typography, people that choose to major in illustration, have different majors come together one, but they are all foreigners. So the school itself will have different studios, like typo studio, fine art studio, multimedia studio, shoemaking studio, blah blah blah. So we have this course, right, kind of bring all the foreigners together. So this course only itself is in English. So by the time we go back to our respective studios, that is in Czech.
And how do you receive when you do not understand?
I got to get classmates to translate or to approach the teacher directly. But when the teacher, but when the teacher is talking in the studio, it is in Czech.
So for a good an hour, you likely do not know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but basically,
and your lesson, your learning
studio,
only starts after an hour later.
No, the studio itself is not about lecture. The studio itself is about practical. Yeah. So the teacher don't say much. They'll give out assignments, and then it is tutorials.
Okay.
But back to our foreign students group, that is where all the theories are. So those are in English.
Right. Okay. And what about their system? You find it's slightly different from ours?
It's very different, but actually this is not my first time experiencing as a foreigner in an institution, in a school institution, right? When I was in UK, something similar happened as well. Yeah. So it's a case of they want foreigners, but they somehow manage them well. And there was a fall short of expectations in that sense.
I am sure this issue is nothing new. It may even occur here.
Absolutely.
No, I'm sure it does. Yeah. And so, okay. So it is a very typical situation where such thing happen. And well, we also not like discussing systems, like we're just trying to identify what is the major differences between going to school here and then going to school there. So what about the food? Did you also?
I try to not think too much about food during those 2 years.
Why? Is it not nice or what?
Yeah. So food is...
Because it doesn't sound like you're having a good time with the food over there.
Definitely not. So I end up cooking a lot, and it's just cooking like a lot to keep myself going. So I'm the person who used the kitchen rooms.
So there's a central kitchen.
I mean, there's an attached kitchen. Yeah.
To the floor?
Rooms. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then
but I do keep a food diary, online food album, which is still there.
During your time,
it's still there lah. Yeah.
Okay.
I basically do a visual diary of my time there.
Okay. And then what about social life? Sometimes when we want to focus on our study, we give certain time up for social life. We do not get to enjoy that much because you have only 24 hours per day. So you need to rest, and then you need to go to school and you need to do revision, and then you may want to hang out with your friends, but I'm sure there is only this much time that you have in it. At least travel around to the outskirts.
Absolutely. You didn't see my online album?
It's for the podcast.
Oh, okay. So we do find time to travel. Yeah, and I think as a foreigner, you hang out best with fellow foreigners. Whether they are from the Eastern Europe countries, whether they are from different parts of Europe or Asians, there is definitely much more camaraderie than, so, Czech people also keep to themselves. So Maybe I would say in my circle, I have one very open and enterprising Czech friend.
Okay. So where did you go?
Lots of places. Yeah. So
Any names?
Chesky Krumlov. Now I can hardly remember the name. I can't remember all the rest of the names, but they are all in the archive if you need to dig out. Yeah, but they're all basically beautiful countrysides. So according to the Czechs, everybody have a countryside house. So in the weekends they will drive into the countryside out of Prague. So Prague is not like their favorite place. Yeah, it's just a place that the city to work.
Study.
But Prague, I think, from their point of view, it belongs to the tourists. It belongs to foreigners. So for the Czechs, the real good life is in the countryside. Yeah. So I have actually been to a cottage, and I cannot remember why. I think it's a friend's cottage, friend's cottage, that kind of thing. And when we went there, the whole group of us, we went there for mushroom picking, and then we went for forest walks. On hindsight, well, it feels very nice because now we are all stuck in Singapore, we have nowhere to go, right? And then I remember there were some swamps which is so deep that somebody actually carried me on my back to just walk across the swamp. Yeah.
This sounds fun.
It sounds fun. It sounds fun. Yeah. Then we went through apple farms, and when I see the kind of apples that comes from the tree, it looks so different from our apples in the supermarket. And then I realized that is the real apple. And whatever we are seeing in the supermarket, it's really damn fake.
Yeah, they're curated products.
Yeah.
For sale.
But at that point of time, I just couldn't put that original apple in my mouth because it just looks so weird. Different. And we actually picked blueberries in the forest. And everything is like, wow, so nature.
So these are things that we do not get to experience here in a city,
But
country.
At the same time, right, even when I am describing all these experiences, it may sound nice, right? But at that point, it's probably very, very cold. And we probably have walked a long distance, and our feet is probably aching.
Actually, that's what I like about going to a country that is not familiar, because while you are enjoying the sights, you are also suffering.
Kind of, in that sense.
Yeah, it is, because the bitter winter cold can really test your patience. Yeah, and especially for Southeast Asian like ourselves, we are not accustomed to them. Okay, last question. What would you say is the most memorable being making that decision to go to Czech, to study in Prague?
Most memorable?
Yeah, this is making your decision going to Prague worth the while.
My objective for typography, and I achieved that. And I went there for it, and that's what exactly I achieved.
Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't any
more than what you have.
More or less, yeah. But generally, as we recount all these small experiences in the forest, in the cottage, and blah blah blah, I mean, these are the details of what we experience as a side dish. Yeah. But generally, my main objective is always about study, and that's what I achieve. And yeah.
Any plans to go back again?
No.
When the border opens? No. Not at all.
Yeah, there's.
motivation.
I'm very busy with looking at China right now. So
okay. That's
China
for another podcast.
Yeah. So returning back to the same place, there's so many countries out there yet to go. So right now, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.